Toronto Pesos DG Pagar, Chad Johnson, who's the best in the NBA West, and finally, are you ready for the biggest college scandal? All this and more, we are bilingual, next on Blitz. Welcome back to Bobcat Blitz Sports Talk like you've never seen it before. Let's meet this week's 4 contestants first from Long Island, New York. Hello, Derrick McCloud.
Hey, how you doing, people?
From South Windsor, Connecticut, you know him. That's Jeff Marlowe.
Just lost to Cleveland, but, you know, they're still 4-4. They're going to make 500, guaranteed.
From Warwick, Rhode Island, you know him, Brendan Dowding.
Just want to say I was wrong about every single one of my World Series picks 2 weeks ago, but it doesn't matter because I went to one of the games.
And finally, from Holbrook, New York, Michael Feldstein.
I'll show you tonight why, with all my sports knowledge, I am numero uno.
Apparently, you're also a frog in a suit.
No comment on that, folks. All right, you know how this works. We got 3 periods, 11 rounds. Let's get it started, guys, with news of the day. And the news is this: Chad Johnson, the mulletless Ocho Cinco, came to the field last week with a Velcro nameplate on his jersey that did not read C. Johnson. No, instead it read Ocho Cinco. And this was well before the coin toss, and quarterback Carson Palmer ripped off the Velcro to reveal the real nameplate. Guys, the league in turn sent a warning to Palmer and fined Johnson 5 large. Guys, do you have a problem with the NFL's uniform policy? Blitzing it over to Derrick McCloud.
I think the NFL is really nitpicky about these type of issues. I'm surprised they haven't fined Roethlisberger yet for having too many letters in his last name. But all this proves the Ocho Cinco thing is that Chad Johnson doesn't know proper Spanish. Ochenticinco, Chad. Ochenticinco.
Si, senor. Jeff.
Well, I think, it's nice that, Chad Johnson could get away with it. But if it was anyone else, you just think the guy's an idiot. I mean, Chad Johnson, he's Chad Johnson. It's funny. Everyone gets it. But, you can't allow this to happen or anything like that. It'll become like the excessive touchdown celebration things where it just gets out of hand. I mean, it's only $5,000. He can pay it off real easy.
Pocket change.
To the Spanish minor of the group.
I really feel like the NFL is nitpicking here because obviously he had his real name plate underneath it. Carson Palmer ripped it off before the game started. And let's be honest, Chad Johnson is all about himself. What does he have? 2 touchdown catches all year? Chad Johnson wants the publicity, and he has to do it with a nameplate because he's just not putting up the statistics.
Gotcha.
Well, the only thing mediocre about Chad Johnson this year has been his gameplay, not his cheap tricks. I mean, I agree. It was before the game, so really it didn't impact a great Bengal effort. Wow, they actually won 4-4 now. So much for a team that everyone predicted to win their division. They look like garbage. Ravens are winning right now. But Johnson, he has fun. That's who he is. He does his thing, just like Manny being Manny, Chad's being Chad.
What they need.
Totally uncalled for at the front.
Was the fine too much?
$5,000. I mean, it's pocket change for them,
Yeah.
but I don't understand what the point of it is. I mean, it wasn't during the game he scored a touchdown and go, numero ocho, and then, fireworks go.
What they need to do is fine him for his frohawk. That's what I think they should do.
The former Frohawk. Too much fine, BD?
Too much what?
Too
Too much. Oh, definitely too much of a fine. $5,000. Yeah, it's chump change for these guys, but it's a joke. Like I said, the nameplate was off before the game even started. Had no outcome whatsoever. So.
No, like I said before, $5,000 is chump change. Excessive touchdown celebration is $10,000. So that really shows you how little the league really cares about this. It's cute. Just let it go.
All right, guys. This past week, Sean Merriman finally dropped his suspension. He's going to start serving this past week, guys. Should the NFL stop finding players like Chad Johnson and make guys accused of taking steroids starting to fine right away? Derrick?
Yeah, I'm surprised he was even playing. How many games did he play after he was accused of
2, 3.
2-3 games? This is out of control, man. Just lock him down right away. You did steroids. Boom, you're out.
Marlowe?
The appeals court, or the appeals system, is very crucial in the NFL. In the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty by the court of law, and he is not allowed to have that. The appeal system is their court of law. You can't just say you tested positive, you have to get out. The appeals has to be there. You have to come up with an excuse for it. Yeah, after the appeal started, he dropped it and accepted the penalty, but
isn't a positive test proof that he's guilty?
A positive test is definitely proof that he's guilty. The fact that he dropped the appeal is probably also proof that he's guilty. And the fact that Sean Merriman's image takes a huge hit right here. He's a cheater. And cheaters should not be allowed to hang around on the field 2-3 extra games. The baseball policy, Guillermo Mota just got found 50 games right away at the start of next year. So, I mean, football should be the same way. He cheated, get him off the field.
Picks him up, wrap it up.
I mean, he was just trying to prolong the inevitable that he was going to get suspended. And I think it's ridiculous. You make a big deal about Chad Johnson, but this guy gets to play 2 or 3 games, make some big-time bucks. The NFL is, I always considered, as far as disciplinary goes, is the best of the 4 professional sports. They're tough, and they usually act upon. I'm kind of disappointed by
every
the fact
game.
that
Every game in football is so precious.
It is.
And this guy's not some bum that did steroids. This guy's a really good player.
That would be like someone getting about a month free in baseball, almost 30 games because of using steroids.
Right, which is absolutely ridiculous. Round over. Feldstein first place points. Brendan second place points. Derrick third place points. Jeff last place points. Question number 2, guys. We now head toward the greatest college scandal ever. Yeah, that would be the BCS. And this year it seems to be heading down the same path that we've seen year in, year out. This past week, Ohio State and Michigan barely escaped upset. USC rebounded from their loss with a precious 42-0 win. And yeah, West Virginia lost to Louisville. In Texas, yeah, manhandled Oklahoma State. Guys, who's your top 5 now? Jeff Marlowe.
Well, the obvious 1, 2 are Ohio State and Michigan. Louisville, they beat number 3 West Virginia. They're a legitimate undefeated team. You got to put them at number 3. Number 4, I'm going to surprise some of you guys right here, the Arkansas Razorbacks. 5-0 in the SEC. Florida coach Ron Zook said that if any team in the SEC goes undefeated, they should get to the national championship game, no questions asked. That might come back to hurt them. They've only given up 20 or more points twice this year, once to USC in their only loss, and they beat number 2 Auburn when they were number 2.
I'd have to say, obviously, I agree with you. Ohio State, number 1. Michigan, number 2. Louisville, obviously, in the Big East. There's been some controversy about undefeated teams from the Big East going to a BCS game, especially with the Rutgers situation. I'm going to say Texas is my number 4.
Really?
Colt McCoy yesterday passed Vince Young's his touchdown record from last season with his 26th touchdown pass, I believe. So they're playing well. They obviously have a loss, but should Michigan or Ohio State lose, obviously they're playing each other, then I think Texas has an outside shot to get into that championship game. And number 5, I have to go with Auburn from the SEC.
Phil Dazzle.
Brian Bond's done a nice job with Louisville, so I have them at 3 as well. And then I go Florida, who is in a very strong it's a good conference, the SEC. They're not that bad. I mean, they're moving up. Hey, a top 10 team lost this week. They're going to get bumped up. They're 8-1 right now. They beat number 9 LSU when they were ranked, and they also beat number 13 Tennessee when they were ranked at that spot too.
They're in your top 5.
And although Auburn, they ended up beating Florida just based on conference strength, that's why they're up there in the top 5.
Derek, save this.
Now, here's the official top 5. Ohio State, Michigan, Louisville, Florida, and Texas. I'm going to go with that because the BCS is always right.
It's never.
Oh, my God.
The BCS is always right. Can you see your score right now?
Do you not hear the sarcasm coming here?
Okay, well then save your points.
I appreciate the sarcasm.
Save your points then. All right, great. Mike.
You want to comment on what Derek said or anything? First off, computers aren't always right. Machines make a lot of mistakes, and we shouldn't rely on technology because just like that, if it's gone, our whole world crashes.
I think the whole system sucks at BCS.
Coach, I mean, but it's a combination of other polls too, along with a computer poll. But I mean, coaches and there's a coaches poll, you have the USA Today poll in the mix with that. I mean, I think it's unfair that that favors some teams like a USC because of who they are and what they represent, and last year being in a championship game. It's unfair, but it guarantees you better games.
They were undefeated last year, BD.
I got to say, it's kind of a travesty that Michigan and Ohio State aren't technically going to be able to face off in the national championship game because they are the 2 best teams by far in the country, and they're going to have to beat each other up in that November 18th game. Kurt Herbstreit today was saying that if it was down to the last minute and it was a field goal at the side of the game, maybe there would be an outside chance they would play against each other. But it stinks because those are clearly the 2 best teams in the country, and they might not be facing off.
Why doesn't this happen? Why don't the best teams play each other? You're going to end up having Louisville against either Michigan or Ohio State.
That's why you need a playoff system. Wrap it up, Marlowe.
I mean, I'm just going to beat the dead horse right here. Playoff system, like Chagaris just said. I didn't get to say that I had Auburn at number 5. That's my bad. But, the playoff system is great. You need to have these teams playing each other because almost every year, last year we had Texas and USC. That was clear 1-2. Yeah. But almost every other year you have a controversy with that where you have 3 teams go undefeated or everyone's got 1 loss.
All right, and that's going to be the round. Marlowe, first place points. BD, second place points. Jeff, Derek, third place points. Florida in your top 5. Are you serious, Feldstein? Last place points. Question number 3, guys. And switching gears now, to this past season, the No Basketball Ability League, also known as the National Basketball Association, instituted a zero-tolerance rule when it comes to arguing calls. This rule has already taken effect, as during the first week, ejections such as Carmelo Anthony easily cost the Nuggets the game. Guys, is this rule a good one or a bad one? BD?
Obviously, jibber-jabbing with the refs is part of sport, so I'm going to say it's a bad one. If they're going to hold up this rule for the entire season, Rasheed Wallace will not play a single game for the rest of the year, and the Detroit Pistons will be in big trouble. Knowing that, I guess it's good that they're going to cut down on all the crap that happens and all the arguing, but sports is just two sides going back and forth with one another, so I think it's a little too,
Yo, wow, we have a celebrity here. I didn't know I was sitting next to Mr. T. Did you say jibber jabber? That was good.
The biggest problem, especially in the NBA, is you go back to 15, 20 years ago, there was more respect. The players weren't as high on this pedestal where they're instant celebrities making millions of dollars. Back then, people were average. There was a respect for the refs. People listened to their coaches. They actually showed up to practice. I think the NBA needs to.
We're talking about practice.
The NBA needs to nip this in the butt right now because so many egos, guys like Wallace, they just take too much away from their teams, and they should be punished for this. Officials do make mistakes, but just play on the game. Stop getting so caught up with decisions. If you're so good, prove it on the court and stop bickering with the refs.
McCloud?
I agree that there should be respect for the officials there, which there really isn't. And it's a good idea, but it's almost impossible to implement this correctly because you have the issues where Carmelo. He gets a little upset over the foul call. He doesn't get mad at the referee, but he tosses his little headband.
Right. Then
you have Sam Cassell, who's arguing with the ref for like 5 minutes straight before halftime, doesn't get anything.
Right.
So they're not consistent at all with it. Be consistent. Get this down, and so that to the point where the players do respect the refs, and that's when the system works.
Marlowe?
With election season around, you have to fight for your democratic rights.
Oh
and
my God.
amendment number 1 is freedom of speech. All right. So I think that this is a bad rule. People need to stand up to Paul Tagliabue. He is becoming, not Paul Tagliabue, David Stern. He is becoming too powerful. First the dress code policy did this, and then the new balls, which nobody likes. I mean, he's just gone too far. It has good roots in it, but I mean, whining over a call, that's just ridiculous.
All right. Listen, okay? Talk about democracy. Name an athlete that's not above the law who's committed a crime in the last 10 years, okay? Because they are above the law, and they think they're above the law on the court with the officials.
Stereotype people.
I'm not stereotyping.
You said every
OJ didn't kill anyone.
There's been many athletes who get away, and I'm just saying, a lot of athletes get away with stuff because they're professional athletes.
The glove don't fit.
Forget race or anything. Athletes today are put up on this pedestal, and it's incorrect. And I know this has turned into like a political talk show hardball right now, but let's bring it back to sports. The officials dictate the rules and authority on the court. Therefore, they should be respected of their decisions, whether right or wrong. That's just
Jason Williams didn't commit manslaughter. The gun was just sitting there, just went off.
Great. BD rep this political
No one's saying that athletes aren't on pedestals because we all know technically they are above the law. I mean, you see the way they get off with everything they do. But athletes are also some of the most fiery and competitive people in the world. And yeah, you're going to go back and forth with refs every now and then. And that's just part of the game, too. So I think it might be a little too strict.
That's going to be the round. Brendan gets first place points. The only one who didn't bring up politics. Thanks, Marlowe. Second place points goes to Feldstein. Third place points goes to Derrick. We're bringing up politics on Blitz. No, I believe that's a different show. Isn't that in the morning after? And finally, guys, we turn to the rookies. Out of all the rookies in the NBA, NHL, and NFL, do you believe it or not that yours and my Malkins of our Pittsburgh Penguins should be the ultimate rookie? Listen to Feldstein.
Well, I mean, look at Malkin. Here's a team that's one of the worst teams in the NHL the last 2 years. They're in second place. They're only 1 point behind the New Jersey Devils. Him and Crosby are probably the best 1-2 tandem in the NHL. Combined, they already have 29 points. You can see the chemistry on the ice. These guys look like they've been playing for 5 years already. And from 1 year to the next, the Penguins go from cellar dweller to now they're almost one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. And a lot of it has to do with Malkin. Him and Crosby have made this team so much better. Instead of just one scoring guy, they now have 2 great weapons.
Derrick, only say one word, yes.
We all know how much I love hockey. I just love hockey. I can't get enough of hockey.
Just say yes.
No, I believe this kid, I looked up the numbers with this kid. He's really, really good. We had a weak NBA draft. I don't see anyone in the NFL making that big of an impact. Even Reggie Bush hasn't played that well. This kid, he has 7 games, 7 goals, and 2 game-winning goals, so that's pretty good. This kid, yes, best rookie out there. I agree.
I'm impressed, Marlowe.
Now, you know I did insult the Pittsburgh Penguins earlier, so I'm
Yes.
sorry about that. But I've gotten a chance to see Malkin play, and he's absolutely amazing. He's the first rookie in NHL history to score a goal in his first 6 games. He's got 11 points in 7 games. You know, he's 6'3", 200-plus pounds. I mean, he was Russia's leading scorer in the 2006 Olympics, and he was playing defense. I mean, this kid is just a natural goal scorer. And like Feldstein said, they're only 1 point behind New Jersey Devils in the Atlantic Division.
And BD, wrap it up.
I just want to say 2 things. I will never refer to them as my Pittsburgh Penguins, for one thing. And the second thing is, you guys have all said it pretty well. Malkin, obviously, 6 goals in his first 6 games. First rookie NHL player to do that. And he came through a lot. I mean, they had the whole contract issue with the Russian league. He had a shoulder injury in the preseason, and he's bounced back beautifully, and he's playing well with Crosby.
And that's going to be the round. Derek, talking hockey, actually bringing stats to us. I am impressed enough to give you first place points. Marlowe, second place points. Feldstein, third place points. I said there are Penguins for a reason. Because they are our Penguins. Last place points, Brendan. All right, guys, let's check the scores. We got a tie between Derrick McCloud and Jeff Marlowe. How do we decide the tie teams? We pick an envelope. Let's pick it to the guy who likes to read the questions, Brendan. Let's pick an envelope.
Feeling the one in the middle. And you know what? I know my place now, Shaggy, so I'm just going to hand it over to you.
Go ahead and read the questions.
All right. Privileges. All right, Derek first.
Go ahead, Derek.
All right, Derek. All right, guys, for the game. Oh, no, not for the game. This is for the tiebreaker. But who do you believe will be the NBA's head coach of the year?
Would you like to phone a friend?
Derek.
Damn it.
Ooh. See, actually has to be thought put into this. Oh, hey, what's his face? Jerry Sloan. Jerry Sloan, he's due. He's a very good coach, and he's been underrated these past couple of years. But this Jazz team is very young. He can mold them and make them into a playoff team this year. Jerry Sloan.
Marlowe.
I'm going to take Avery Johnson. You know, his Mavericks team is really talented, but right now they're struggling severely. I believe he's going to take them back, maybe even get them into the NBA championship. I've got to go with Avery Johnson.
I just want to revisit what you said. His
They're
team
struggling, so
is
Avery
doing
Johnson
well.
should be coach of the year.
His
What?
team
It's
is
only
not
three
doing
How
well.
did you
games.
begin
They're
this?
gonna win
They're
it. Screw the
0
next
and 3, Jeff.
His team will do well. They will do well.
Three. Say your last words. Get out of here, Marlowe.
Whatever. I just can't believe this. I give you, props for the Evgeny Malkov thing, and then you give him first place points, which is why I'm done. Oh my God.
And he just poured a Feldstein. When we come back, it's fortune teller here on Bobcat Blitz.
So what's the biggest issue in America today?
I don't think we're probably ever doing enough for our environment. The war in Iraq, religious yahoos, freedom of speech. I get angry about it, but it's like, in my own apartment. I probably believe in all of those causes, but I'm not really doing anything.
Welcome back to Bobcat Blitz. Let's check the scores. Brandon Dowding is in first with 11. And we got a two-way tie team with 10 between Michael Feldstein and Derrick McCloud. And guys, let's begin fortune teller NBA West style. All right, we begin in the Southwest, home of the defending Western Conference champion Dallas Dirk Nowitzki Mavericks, Duncan Parker and Ginobili Spurs, Yow's Rockets, Chris Paul's New Orleans Hornets, and Stoudemire's Grizzlies. Guys, the Southwest blitzing it to BD.
I don't know how you can go against the San Antonio Spurs when it comes to that division. I know they're off to a little bit of a struggling start. The Hornets are in first place. Obviously, Chris Paul is a great guard, but Tony Parker is still, 24 years old at this point, still young. Tim Duncan's still relatively young, and Manu Ginobili, that's a fearsome threesome if I ever saw one for myself. I'm going to go with the Spurs.
Feldstein?
Well, as you start to see last year, all these years of playing deep into the playoffs and the injuries starting to mount up on Tim Duncan, while they are a great defensive team, they are banged up and they are getting old. And they've won 3 championships, in the last 7 years, which is a great run. But Dallas Mavericks, forget this 0-3 start, okay? They went from 2 years ago being the 21st ranked defense in the NBA. Now they were the 7th last year. Dirk Nowitzki is getting very close to becoming one of the best, if not the best player in the league, because last year he started crashing the boards, playing a better defensive post-up game, still hits the threes, and Avery Johnson knows how to motivate this group in tough times. So I think the Mavericks are on the cusp of winning this division, and I think they're going to do it this year.
Derek?
This division comes down to two teams, Spurs, Mavericks. And I believe the Spurs are a more balanced team inside-outside attack, as opposed to the Mavericks. They're a little more perimeter-oriented than the Spurs. You got the inside game with Duncan and Ginobili slashing to the basket. I'll take Ginobili and Parker over Terry and Howard any day.
That's going to be the round. Feldstein, first place points. Derek, second place points. Brendan, last place points. Question number 2, guys, and we head up north to the Northwest Conference. Home to Boozer and Karolinko's Funky Jazz, Mellows Nuggets, Garnett's Timberwolves, Ray Allen Supersonics, and yeah, the Portland Trail Blazers. Guys, the Northwest, blitzing it to Derrick McCloud.
You may be surprised by this, but I like the T-Wolves this year. Yes, the draft pick Randy Foye, he's going to be really, really good. Hey, listen.
All right.
Hey, Ricky Davis complimenting KG. Mm-hmm. They had some time together. They'll have a more solid foundation there, their teamwork. And, of course, you got Vin Baker can drink with the team. Some alcohol, maybe we get a little more free-flowing offense going on there. But KG's going to have a monster year. Watch this. He's going to average a quadruple-double. Put me down for that one, quadruple-double.
The last guy to ask for a triple-double for a whole year was Oscar Robertson. For a triple-double. Quadruple-double?
I'm joking.
All right.
Feldstein.
All right.
Look out for the Wolves.
I'm going to have to go with the Utah Jazz. Andre Karolinko, probably one of the more underrated players in the NBA. He's a great guy, real versatile, but since the Jazz have been kind of on the downswing the last couple of years, he hasn't gotten as much publicity. Boozer, he's been hurt a little bit too, but I think those two are going to be a good tandem together. And Jerry Sloan, like you said, was a great coach. He had that run in the
Boozer.
90s when they played against the Bulls, and I think he'll be back this year.
That's
too.
nice that Boozer stays healthy, but Boozer
it.
may be the most injury-prone forward out
the
there.
Timberwolves? Oh, dear God. Feldstein, first place points. BD, second place points.
Answer.
Derek, last place points. And now, guys, we head to the Pacific. Home to Nashville, land of the rising Phoenix Suns, Zeidman and Cassell's Clippers, the Los Angeles Kobe's, Artest Kings, and Richardson's Warriors. Guys, the Pacific, blitzing it to BD.
The Lakers are off to a great start, 3-0, but they're not even the best team in LA. The Clippers are going to win this division this year. Elton Brand, again, one of the most underrated players in the NBA. He's got a great supporting cast. Corey Maggette, and how can you go against Chris Kaman? He looks like the caveman from the Geico ads, for God's sakes. You can't root against a guy like that, and they made it a good way last year, and I think they're going to be back again this year.
Feldstein?
I mean, for the last 10 years, the Clippers have basically been the Cincinnati Bengals of the NBA. 37 wins last year. They almost won 50 games. They won 49 games last year. They went to 7 games with the Phoenix Suns and almost went to the Western Conference playoffs. You take a look at what they've done. Elton Brand, had it not been for Steve Nash year, is basically your MVP because he did such a great job. Add in probably one of the best point guards as far as veteran leadership goes in Sam Cassell. He did a phenomenal job leading that team. He was with the Rockets in the mid-'90s, did a decent job with a few other teams. They have just, Mike Dunleavy has turned this team into a respectable team. Brand has stepped his game up so much for this franchise. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Sure you didn't talk last question. Now you're talking too much. Wrap it up, Derek.
Yeah, the Timberwolves are going to win this division too. You still think I'm serious, Feldstein? No, I like Phoenix to win this division. Especially if Amari comes back healthy, there's the championship contending team. Kurt Thomas healthy, and the key here is Marcus Banks, an acquisition this past offseason to back up Steve Nash. Big.
Right, that's going to be the round. McCloud, first place points. BD, second place points. Why did I give you first place points last time? Feldstein, last place points. Question number 4, guys. 10, fortune teller. Who takes the Western Conference? Derek?
Probably, I didn't put much thought into this, but I guess Phoenix, once again, especially if Amari comes back healthy. Definitely. Amari's a beast.
Feldstein?
Well, as we've seen before in the past, it's defense that works in the playoffs, not 120-point-per-game Phoenix Sun basketball. The San Antonio Spurs, I think if they're healthy enough, will go and win that conference.
If you watch the entire NBA, the league is kind of moving, shifting towards.
I understand that, but the defense still holds up. San Antonio, Detroit Pistons going to a couple NBA.
I wouldn't be surprised at anyone.
Good offense gets beaten by great defense.
And wrap it up.
I never thought I'd say this. I'm going to agree with Feldstein. The Spurs, if they stay healthy, Tony Parker, big playmaker, they're going to go to the finals.
That's going to be the round. Feldstein, first place points. Derek, second place points. Brendan, last place points. All right, we got to go to the shootout. We got to get rid of somebody. BD, it's been fun, but basketball isn't your specialty, is it?
It's not my specialty. I ran up against 2 formidable opponents, and hopefully there will be no more basketball next time I come on the show.
When we come back, it's the shootout here on Bobcat Blitz.
Excuse me. I've been getting mixed messages about women and violence. I need a little clarification.
Boys are never going to approach you. You need to teach them that violence against women is wrong.
Let's give it a go. And first up, who do you think will be the NBA champion? Blitzing it to Feldstein.
Well, this year the NBA championship is going to shift back west. Shaquille O'Neal and the Miami Heat look played out. They just don't look that good
It's
so
just
far
3
early in the year.
games, man.
I know, but you know what? I honestly think you're going to see a return to supremacy from the San Antonio Spurs. They just have such a great team. Popovich has been there. They've won 3 times. Duncan's done it with Robinson, without Robinson. They're a great team. And the other teams, the Mavericks and the Suns, just don't have the great defense. And I think you can put that team up against any team in the Eastern Conference.
Here's what I have to say about the Heat. When they were put together last year, what were the questions? Oh, there's only one ball to go around. How can these guys play together? They can't play together. Chemistry issues. What do? They win a championship. Now they've actually had a year together. They have that chemistry with that experience winning a championship. And Dwayne Wade is just one of those Jordan-like players that just has the will to win, just does not want to lose in the playoffs. He's the wild card every game, I think, in the playoffs, and they can repeat. I like the Heat.
All right, first point to Derek. Second question, guys. Who do you believe will be the NBA Sixth Man of the Year? Derek?
I think Marcus Williams can be a Sixth Man of the Year for the Nets, backing up Jason Kidd. He's looked amazing out there. Never even playing with these guys. It seems like he just knows them so well. Maybe even Nate Robinson, 23 minutes a game, 14 points a game. Very good backup.
Well, I agree with the second choice, not the first one, because if I've been watching the Knicks the last year and a half, there's no one who adds a spark to the Knicks like Nate Robinson. The Knicks play such flat ball, even in Memphis and Atlanta. But when they came out there on Friday night against the Hawks, he was part of the reason they sparked back. Same thing Saturday against the Pacers. For a little guy under 5'10", he has a big heart, and he brings so much life to the Knicks that's really absent when you got Marbury and Francis
He should
on the
start.
court.
Maybe he won't, because maybe he'll be starting sometime.
See, when I asked for the Sixth Man, I want one name, not 2. Point for Feldstein. Feldstein, pick the last one. All right, guys, to determine...
Hockey.
NASCAR and hockey. Let's have a hockey NASCAR.
Name a hockey team and a NASCAR driver. Let's
Guys, for the game, which team has the best defense? Feldstein?
Well, I'm going to say the San Antonio Spurs have the best defense, and they've had the best defense for the last 4 or 5 years now. Tim Duncan at center, you got Parker and Ginobili who are great at the guard. They just do a solid job shutting down teams, and they're one of the only teams that's let under 90 points per game in the last couple of years, and that has what's propelled them. Even when they're banged up, they always have that great team defense. They don't bear down on defense. Their defense is always there. The offense might be off a couple nights in a row, but that defense will always keep the Spurs in a game.
Derek?
That's absolutely right. And, you know, the Pistons, it's damn sure not the Pistons after losing Ben Wallace. And I think they're overrating the Bulls' defense with Ben Wallace. And I like the Spurs, you're right. They've been the best defensive team for the past 5 years or so. So I see no difference this year. What kind of question is this? I don't know.
See, I hate to do it. Love the answer, Derek. Liked it better the first time. Feldstein, give it a go.
Well, the NBA season has started yet again, and the New York Knicks find themselves in a pickle. For years, this franchise I have watched from the days of Patrick Ewing fall to the demise of Stephon Marbury, Isaiah Thomas, and the fat, wealthy pig, Mr. Dolan. The New York Knicks find themselves in a deep salary cap rut until I graduated from Quinnipiac in the year 2009. But on a good note, I'd like to pay my respects to the great Red Auerbach, who unfortunately passed away last week. The man who made this game so great. And because of this game going so great and still going on after 50-plus years, we get to watch the New York Knicks play at the world's most famous arena.
In a pickle.
Oh, you done? That's going to do it this week on Bobcat Blitz. Make sure to check out our website at Q30.org. Check out the other shows while you're there. Also send us any type of email at bobcatblitz at Q30.org. I'm John Chagaris. We'll see you next week.
In a pickle.
So you got what it takes to be the sports talk king. It's time to knuckle up and get Q30's ring. A relentless battle, a test of your will. A full panel challenge of your sports talk skills. 3-round showdown, who knows more? Bring your A game or wind up first out the door. And of course, lastly, bring your personality. Cause it's time to find out who's the king of TV. This is Bobcat Blitz! The competition where the best argument will win the round. Bobcat Blitz! And if your answers are whack, John Chagaris will smack you down. We represent Quinnipiac Sports Talk Home. Intriguing arguments to the top of the dome. Stay tuned each week, find out who the champ is, and you know what I'm talking about. Bobcat Blitz.